What is up, alien army? I am Oculus, the alien next door, purveyor of esoteric lore. And on this channel, we discuss everything out of this world. So today's topic is gonna be a little bit cryptic in nature because you'll see as I get into it, the topic that we are going to be discussing. And I just want to put this out there. If you're watching this video, you know who I'm talking about and you know what I'm talking about. So this is something that occurred to me yesterday. It was legit. I was filming, I was done, I was having a sippy sip of wine, I was having a little bit of some tater tots, and all of a sudden this knowing washed over me and I just knew. So with this topic, I do want to say this is information that I just downloaded. It is something that I channeled. Do I have physical proof of what I'm talking about? No, I do not, but this video is intended to resonate with those of you who know what I know and what I'm talking about here. So if it is a little cryptic and you're confused, this might not be the video for you, because this is what we're doing. So I'm sure you are aware of what current events are going on right now in Earth's timeline, on Earth's timeline, however you want to slice the bread. This timeline is corrupted. It's sort of like a corrupted file that just occurred to me now. This is not what I channeled yesterday, but it is in regards to that. So the timeline is a corrupted file. This is something that will not continue on very longer just because it is a corrupted file. So it's either the computer is going to crash or a new computer is going to be brought in its place, if you catch my drift. There is a prominent figure. I'm sure you know the name of this individual. Now, I know that there is a persona that has the name of the individual that I'm talking about. I do also know that this body with that name is not being piloted by a soul. A soul might be in there, but it is not the one that is operating it, okay? Maybe it was a while ago, but it definitely is not now. And the reason why this individual is doing what they're doing, here's the download, is because this individual, however that persona agreed to be on Earth in a physical vessel at this time, whether it was the individual and then they were switched out for a clone, whether it was this individual and they were switched out for a demon, however that exactly is the technical portion of that, I don't know. But the persona, which is the name of this individual, was destined for this during their appearance on the sideshow that is known as Earth at this time. So if we want to talk about soul purpose, this persona, what's going on now and what they're doing, what they're attempting to do, that is their soul purpose. Like, to put it in the smallest compartment of a box you can imagine. So their soul purpose, some might argue, does this thing even have a soul? Okay, well, at one point, a soul was involved because they would not be able to be on Earth. So even if this is a clone being piloted by a demon, at some point there was still an actual flesh, blood human that was attached to a soul that this essence, the physical essence, was extrapolated from. That being said, this is what I basically channeled, is that what they are doing on Earth in this moment in time is their soul purpose. You might know what your soul purpose is, or you might not, but when you are made aware of your soul purpose, you know it with clarity that is what you are here to do. So this individual, whose name I shall not mention because you already know who I'm talking about, what they are doing is their sole purpose. And this is because they started with machines if you catch my drift. They started with machines and objects that have no sentience to them. So this is something that one might consider to be a device of an electronic nature. Perhaps it could be a computer. I mean, our phones are little mini computers if you think about it, but this is like the granddaddy of them all. This is like stemming from an electronic tangible object only. So this individual knows these electronic devices very, very well. Okay, I'm not saying that this individual is stupid. This individual is very clever, because that's what I channeled. Because this person started with the rough prototype, which is like the electronic only device. There's no sentience to it. And things were designed for the software of that particular electronic device. Functionality as well as potential hindrances. So when the designer of this software, program, electronic device, whatever it was creating this thing, it also with it created the nemesis to this thing, which one might look at as an invader of this object. So the invader was invented because the object was invented for this particular electronic device. And it's brilliant, really, because someone has to have intelligence to pull this off, what they did, okay? Ethics, morals, that's another story, but just intelligence to get it done, sense in that they have. So this whole system was designed, the anti-version for this non-sentient electronic device was created at the same time. And we're talking, this is a rough prototype. The two of them were designed together. You are not going to have one without the other, because they came from the same creator, the same inventor, which is the individual whose name I shall not mention, but you know who the fuck I'm talking about. They're products of this persona. If we want to take that information and then we want to expand into the future, the 2.0 software is now available. Only the 2.0 is biological instead of just computer codes and things like that. There are computer codes in here with the 2.0 version, but it needs a biological host. It does not need an electronic host to host the detrimental thing to it. It needs a biological host. And this thing that I am referring to, again, if we want to use the analogy, the computer and the antithesis to the software of that computer were created together. As so, this 2.0 version, which is the biological XYZ and the nemesis to that biological XYZ, which is the anti whatsoever it is for the software. So you have a biological being, which, let's take, for example, someone in a human vessel. They're a biological being, therefore they can host a biological agent, just like the electronic only computer could only host an electronic only agent, which could potentially be detrimental to it, but they were created together, so that was the design of it, that was the beauty of it. The biological thing, now a detriment, a purported detriment to that biological being Could it have been created? Sure, it could have been fabricated out of thin air. Does it necessarily biologically have to exist? No, but it was created because it is being spoken of, it is being talked about, so it might not be something that tangibly exists in the physical domain, but it is something which is provoking thought and provoking emotion in the humans that are aware of this thing that was created. So was it created as a biological anything? I don't know. Was it designed just to be a detriment to the mind, a detriment to the feelings, but has no biological tangibility? I don't know. I'm not here to speak on either of those. I just know that something was created, a program was created in regards to this. At the same time, the anti-XYZ was created, right? Because a problem is invented at the same time as the solution. This time, the problem requires a biological human host. Whether it's mind things or if it's a biological thing, whatever it is, it can still, even if it does not tangibly exist, it can still exist in the mind and the emotions of those who it was directed towards. So the solution, the anti-agent, which is going to heal the purported ailment, be it physical, biological, mental, emotional, it was created at the same moment of that. So this individual that I am referencing here in this video created both of those together, because this is a 2.0 version of the 1.0, which was electronic only. So this is their greatest masterpiece. That explains a lot if you really think about it. This is their greatest masterpiece. Oh, yeah. It's your greatest masterpiece. That's what it is. The greatest masterpiece for this individual. And whether it's being piloted by this or piloted by that, who knows? Who really even cares at this point? The point is that this is the purpose why that individual is on this timeline, because that was their life path. That was the thing that they always want to do, right? Because they're doing these formulations and calculations, and then they're doing that on something that has no sentience, and then what would happen if I did the same thing on a sentient being? It's like a mad scientist. It's like Dr. fucking Frankenstein meshed with Joseph Mengele, meshed with, use your imagination. You'll probably come up with a few names. So that's what they're doing. This is a mad scientist. This is someone who, this is their whole life purpose. This is what they, to them, that's what they're here to do, is that. So how does this affect a human? A human, just like, let's say if we want to take it back to the computer type of software, right? You have to go on a shady website and you have to like download something from that shady website in order for the detriment to even be on your computer. You have to, you kind of install it yourself, much like when skin is pierced, right? You're opting to have that object pierce your skin. So when you make an agreement with that object to pierce your skin, now you're just, that's like the shady website. That's like the website that you visited. You knew that shit was shady, but you went right ahead and now your computer, it has this. Shit's running haywire. It's running amok. It ain't operating the way that it was before. You went to that shady website and downloaded that, right? So pierced skin is very much like the shady website. You opted to have that occur. You chose that. You didn't have to, right? But you chose it. You're like, well, in that moment, and I'm not saying you in particular, but just generally speaking, right? The individual, the one who chose that, they chose to have their skin pierced. Oh, whoa, shady website now, because it's in a biological host. Now what happens is that whatever is in there is downloaded. It's the same thing. It's the same type of operating system. Literally, you can take a technical, mechanical, non-sentient object and liken it to a biological being that resides in a human suit. Same idea. Okay? You done downloaded some funky shit and it's gonna fuck with the operating system. You can even look this up if you choose to. One of the options out there does even state that this type of instrument is essentially an operating system, okay? So you look that up for yourself, but this is what I channeled, because here's the thing, we're all different. So someone getting their skin pierced, person A, might be very different to someone getting their skin pierced, person B. They're going to have a different response, a different reaction, maybe no reaction, maybe a delayed reaction. They're all different, and that depends upon the way that they carry themselves, how they carry themselves mentally, how they are emotionally in resonance with their surroundings and themselves, as well as how their physical body is up to par. So if someone is carrying themselves in a pure vibration and they're cleanly all over, I'm talking about pristine aura, a body in good health, thoughts in alignment only with what they want, with positivity and optimism, feelings, all their ducks in a row, everything is in congruence, they're just at peace, they're in a state of bliss for the predominant part of their experience every day. This type of individual, number one, I don't think they're gonna get their skin pierced in that way if they are that type of individual. I gotta throw that out there, okay? I had to there you go, okay? But let's say I'll humor whoever wants to be humored. Let's say someone had a pristine aura, all of that. If they get their skin pierced, it ain't nothing gonna phase them because it's their perspective. So it also has to do with what they expect from the skin piercing. If they're somewhere in their own psyche and vibration, if there is a concern going on with them, guess what's going to manifest for them? Where someone goes into it like nonchalant, blase, however, for them, likely ain't nothing going to happen, okay? So again, this also, it has to do with mentality going into it, has to do with emotions going into it, and of course it has to do with what type of shape their biological, physical body is in. So put that to the side. It's going to be different for everyone. That's why you should always use your own discretion. So should you be around them? And I'm talking like, let's say you have a loved one and they decide to get their skin pierced. I mean, if you have a loved one, you're going to be viewing them through whatever lens your perception of this whole charade is, right? Because you are going to have the discernment. Remember, you might encounter someone who they've had their skin pierced and they tell you that, but you're like, you know what, I don't care, I'll deal with them, right? Like, you're gonna feel in alignment with the choice that you made that it's okay. But if, let's say, there's someone that's had their skin pierced, but you get like a weird vibe, like, I don't know if I want to do that. And I mean, this is just common sense, right? But I'm just saying, okay, Even those that have had their skin pierced, if you go into intimacy with them and you're not thinking nothing of it, you're just like, okay, whatever, guess what? You're immune to anything that they could have potentially done. Okay? So what I'm going to say about this is that this whole agenda is really designed to separate and divide. So whatever opinion you have on the current events, what's going on, that's entirely up to you. But one thing that I'm going to address is fear. So if you want to talk to these type of people because they're in alignment with your views, that's great. If you don't want to talk to these people because they're not in alignment with your views, that's great too. Do you talk to someone, cut a motherfucker off, whatever feels right to you, whatever is bringing you peace when you lay your head down to go to sleep at night, okay? Do that. But no matter what situation you are in, no matter if you choose to be around these individuals or if you choose to cut them off, because this agenda was designed to create a fear factor amongst the humans, the one thing which I implore you to not succumb to is the fear. You're going to do what you want to do. But even if, let's say, you are in alignment with the shed, if you focus on that, guess what? What you focus on expands. So then, if you're focused on a fear of, well, I'm doing me, but this person, they had their skin pierced and now blah, blah, blah. Guess what? It still ain't going to affect you unless you allow it to. So there's sort of like a double theme going on where it's like the pro skin piercers might have fear in regards to those who are just, they're just chilling organically. And the organic ones, they might have not a fear necessarily of the thing, but now because the anti thing has been introduced and there's talk of the shed, now even though they don't live in fear, the person who's not in alignment with that fear factor, now a new flavor has been introduced. Like, well, you know what, even if you're organic and you're chilling and you're happy, but wait, what if the contaminated ones can infiltrate your space? It's like, no, motherfucker. Okay, because the whole thing is designed with fear in mind, right? Like, oh, this motherfucker is a tinfoil hat wearing fucking who knows what. Oh, this person is a brainwashed motherfucker and blah, blah, blah. Like, however you want to look at it, it's still going to come back to the separate and divide and conquer. So it can be pro skin piercing, organic, human, it can be whichever. And you can remain firm on your stance, but you also have to not take into consideration any type of additional fear factor that's going to be thrown into the mix. Because we got a whole fucking, everything is in this motherfucking blender right now that they're throwing in there. They're like, oh, throw this in there, throw that in there. What's going to divide them more? Oh, let's tell them that. Like, it's stupid. And you, as an enlightened being, can see through that. You can see through fear. So if you're someone who is wondering, can someone who has followed the crowd, so to speak, affect you just by them being near you or you being intimate with them or blah, 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 whatever, it's all going to come down to you. Remember, because pure thought, emotions in alignment with bliss, and you're treating your body really fucking good. You're taking your vitamins, you're getting regular exercise, you're getting your sunlight, whatever, however resonates with you that makes your body feel good. Me, I like to dance around up in here and just, like dance in front of the mirror and shit. That's what I do. It's a good exercise. So whatever you're in alignment with, that's making your body feel good, look good, do good, serve you better. Remember, it's your body, you're the soul, you pilot the fucking enterprise. If you're feeling good, if you're in alignment with peace and calm and contentness and bliss and serenity, you're chilling. your thoughts, you're proactively thinking about what you want that make you feel good, that allow you freedom, all of that stuff, ain't no motherfucker on earth gonna phase you. Ain't nobody gonna hold you down as long as you got yourself in alignment. So that's just, my prerogative on these things, and always do what resonates with you. You might have a different viewpoint than those that are expressed here. So do you, I'm doing me. That's what I do. That's what I got for you today. I am Oculus, the alien next door, and we will chit chat again soon.